congratulations to everyone who would have taken the time to be with us this evening. And I want to start off with a brief recap of what we did on our last session. All right. So for all those who were there, what are the 3 golden rules? We opening up with an icebreaker. Put in the chat. All right. You never know. Those who are speeding a response, you never know if there might be a prize on hand for those who would have been fast enough with the fingers. All right. I'll have Narissa check that for us. But the 3 rules that we would have had last week was 1, the 3 golden rules is number 1, an open heart and open mind. Be objective. Doesn't mean you have to agree to everything that is said, but clear out all your contents so that you can view everything that is being shared from an objective standpoint. 2, we spoke about the ways to play, right? 1, refusing to play, for those who would not have been here with us today. 2, pretending to play, pretty dangerous stuff. You're pretty much only fooling yourself. 3, playing not to lose, all right? This is playing it safe, remaining in your comfort zone. Unfortunately, there is little or no growth that can be achieved while still being in your comfort, a place of comfort. And the most important, or the way we do it here, is playing to win. That is, we show up, we have plans to implement some of the things, or at least one of the things that we would have heard, all right? And we give 100%. So participation would be key, and we're looking forward to those who are most vibrant. As I said before, you never know. There might be a prize in store. And nonetheless, we would have highlighted as well the golden nugget moments. That is things that you might not have known before, things that you may have forgotten. Having your pen and paper close by to be writing down these golden nugget moments so that you can have something functionally to activate or implement in the week that is upcoming nicely. So last week, we would have spoken about the 5 key elements that are important in the successful launch of a business. Number 1 being belief. All right, this is where we would utilize, well, it comes from various sources, but what we utilize is our future vision. All right, these are the things that we would have practically in advance, that is, picture our best outcome or our ideal outcome. All right, and that would have led us to the importance of having a vision. We would have said that a vision, without a vision, people has perished. Likewise, without a vision, entrepreneurial dream perishes. We would have touched on the importance of having an idea. After this visioning process, ideas come to the forefront. However, these ideas have to meet a need, add value to the marketplace, do something differently, or solve a problem. All right, we spoke about it being either mad or being ready to play mass, okay? And that being the case, we would have spoken of the importance thereafter to have a business plan. That is the writing down of your goals, your ideas, because without a business plan, without something being written, there's nothing to reference. You know, as I always tell my kids, lead is longer than memory, and this gives us a base to function, to make future decisions, to guide our processes, all right? And last but not least, after having all these elements, 1 to 4, it will all be for naught if we don't utilize the 5th element, which is to implement. All right, so that was a recap. Those were the 5 key elements for the successful launch of a business. As we move forward into today's topic, is just one slight inclusion. It is, of course, entrepreneurial ethics, adding value to the marketplace. However, It also will be speaking significantly on the mindset for success as an entrepreneur. All right. Today we have Mr. Trevor James, known as Coach Trevor James. He is a life and peak performance coach. He works with individuals, entrepreneurs, large organizations to bring them to their best selves. All right. He will be taking over the proceedings. Coach TJ, thank you for showing up tonight. We welcome you.
Thank you, Des. Are you hearing me loud and clear?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Great, fantastic. So pleasant evening to all. Just want to thank Larissa and her end, Hyderabad Regional Corporation. And I would say one of my students, one of my clients, Mr. Dezi Lara. You hear my voice sounding sort of strange. It's one of those days with a lot of young people to talk to, so just keep the voice going. So spotlight. Great. So, Mr. Lara, have some easy questions, I hope, for me this afternoon.
Of course. I hope
they're not hard ones. I'll do my best. After, as you will see up on the screen, people, my company is QP Success, and our business is about people. Our business is about people. So let that sit for a while before we move into anything else. So as Mr. Lara share with you, basically we're talking about entrepreneurial ethics, business ethics this afternoon.
Correct.
So question, Mr. Lara.
Well, let me start off. The hot topic is ethics, so to tell us a little bit more about ethics and what is your concept of it for entrepreneurs.
Hey, fantastic question. For starters, ethical principles between business or in business are not in any way different from ethical principles in general. So let us set that particular premise up from the outset. I will repeat, ethical principles in business are not in any way different from ethical principles in general. It's like, I always tell people, business is not concrete and steel. Business is people. And once we understand that principle, so we always say the business went out of business. No, it's the people who own the business, they went out of business. The building is still there. So when we speak about these principles, we're speaking about the people within the organization who are responsible for these particular ethical principles. My mom is still alive at 105, and there's an old saying that people always talk about charity and believe of home, and those old principles, they're still working. But I want us to understand something this afternoon. There is still a difference. What really is business or entrepreneurial ethics? Well, it is the study of proper business policies and practices regarding potentially controversial issues. Let me repeat that. Business or entrepreneurial ethics, it is simply the study of proper business policies and practices regarding potentially controversial issues. What are these issues? In business today, we hear about bribery, we hear about discrimination, we hear about data protection regarding social media, corporate or social responsibility. So those are the things, especially in our Twin Island, that we hear a lot of. The first one about bribery. So we have to be very careful when we're talking about these things. We're talking about bribery. As a business person myself, as an entrepreneur myself, there was a program that I had a contract with the government, and some of the people wanted us to do some unethical things. And I tell them, that's not my reason for getting this contract.
Right.
It's about these particular principles. It's about everyday principles, the manly thing to do. Charity begins at home and not abroad. Those basic things that I was raised with are the things that we have to continue. So when we look at business today, It's not about the size of the business that deals with bribery. And that's a principle. Bribery can start as simple as a young child in school. You know, if I give you this, would you give me that? You know, we can start the parent and the child. So many times I always tell people that parents need to be careful what they are doing for their children, especially doing the assignment for them, whether it's an SBA or whether it's a project. We are always doing the stuff for the child. I raise my children with do it yourself. It's your mark. So when you understand these principles, then we understand that discrimination. Who are the people that you're hiring? Are we discriminating against them because of ethical background or religious background? How are we dealing with those things? Because when you look at what is happening in our Twin Island, we deal with a lot of different religious organizations. We just have Diwali. Yeah, we have the Muslims, we have Christians, and inside of that, a Christian faith, we have people by different religious background, with a Catholic, Anglican, Methodist, you name it, and we go on down the road. So those are areas that we can discriminate because we don't like that particular religion or that particular ethnicity. So we don't hire or we don't do business with. So those are some of the things that we'll be talking about: discrimination, data protection regarding social media. As you would know, your business dealing with intellect, what do we call that?
Yes. Social media
digital
digital
marketing
solutions.
Right. So there's a lot of those things that will be coming up that you know that you have to pay for some of these things. And people always want a freebie here and there. And those are some of the things that we have to understand for your own business as you deal with the other bigger businesses. Corporate and social responsibility. So when we talk about corporate and social responsibility, we look at companies like Digicel, we take B-Mobile, or TSTT, or WASA. These large corporations, we have to look at, they have a certain corporate social responsibility to you and I that they need to put in place proper ethical things to deal with it. So let's take an example of you, the individual, working in a large corporation. You are working in a large corporation and you are what we will call frontline employee. But you have a vision, a quiet vision of wanting to open your own business sooner or later. Those ethical principles that you are applying to your present work or job, as whatever we want to call it, will determine how you will function when you choose to step out on your own and want to hire other people. Right. So let's take a look, Mr. Lara, at some of the characteristics and values that most people associate with ethical behavior. Now we're talking about characteristics and values that most people associate with ethical behavior. The first one on my list is honesty. Do not deliberately mislead or deceive the consumer.
Yeah.
Honesty. For those of you who are taking notes, we forget to tell you when you come to these sessions, make sure you come with pad, pencil, and paper.
Correct.
Because somebody will say something. It doesn't have to be me or Mr. Lara. It can be one of the guests itself who's on the session. And we are always open for learning. So I want you to make note of this, that we're talking about characteristics. If you're working in a large corporation today, and you choose to pick up the people pen and pencils and walk out of it, and then you open a business, and the people that you hire choose to take away the pen and the pencil, and you are getting upset. Charity starts where you were working.
Yes.
It's important. So honesty, do not deliberately, I said, mislead or deceive the consumer.
Coach, can we take a second? I've seen a couple of persons would have joined the chat. So just for a little update, please feel free to put all questions, share any thoughts in the chat, and we will get it at the end of the presentation. All right, Coach?
Thanks, Beth. Let me just take a look at the chat here. So, backing up again. So we're talking now about characteristics and values that most people associate with ethical behavior. We started off with honesty. So please write that. But before we move on there, let me say something that we need to understand, whether it's myself or Des or Narissa or any one of the other people at the regional corporation. A lot of times when you attend something like this, you come with a mindset for learning. I like to inform people that you need to come with a mindset of learning and on learning, because there are some things that you would have learned from childhood, from teenager, from adult to present, that you need to unlearn because it will not work for you if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. You have to unlearn those things, and we will get into that. So when we look at honesty, the next one on my list is integrity. When we look at integrity, and we're talking about not being unscrupulous.
Yes.
Once again, integrity and not unscrupulous. And we need to pay attention to what that is saying to us. This is very important because remember, regardless of the product or service that you are bringing to the marketplace, you need to pay attention to your integrity. If you say you're going to do this, do that. Right? It's very simple. One of the other things that I want to take a look at is promise keeping. Promise keeping. What is promise keeping when we talk about characteristics? Do not create justification for escaping commitment. I remember when I came back to Trinidad in 1983, went to High Street and I bought a pair of jeans. When I reached home, the lady asked me what size. I said 32, 32. Up to this day, I still wear 32, 32. So when I got home and decided to put on these jeans now, when I did like that, the waist of the jeans was about like a 38. So fall back up, Mr. Jeans. Next day, land back in San Fernando, going back to the store. And the first thing that these people approached me with was talking about, but you know you can't get a refund. Well, look, within weeks of just leaving the United States, when it's coming to product and service, when it's coming to customer service, there's you went to school in the States like me. I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear you telling me about you not giving me back my money. I have to tell the clerk, excuse me, I am not here to talk about money. I am here to talk about getting the right size.
Correct.
This is not a 32, 32. Remember, do not create a justification for escaping commitment and the same integrity. So we have a lot of these unscrupulous things in Trinidad and Tobago where the consumer is always under pressure from the owner of the business, right here in our environment. So I'll tell her, I said, could you let me get a tape measure? We measure it. It was about a 38 G's. Got a 32, 32, measure it again, left the place. So the first thing we want to talk about is we're not giving you a refund back.
Right.
Every single thing that you buy in the United States, you can get a refund on it, from credit card to cash, right? So promise keeping, do not create justification for escaping commitment. We're always trying to justify, we're trying to defend with logic. Look, people, if you're in the food industry and somebody find a hair, you just don't know the implications that those things can have. We just don't sue people in Trinidad and Tobago when it comes to those kind of environments. We leave it. You find a cockroach, you find a whatever it is, and we don't even worry about it. So remember, the first one, for those of you taking the notes, was honesty. We're dealing with characteristics and values. The first one was honesty. The second one was integrity. We just spoke about promise keeping. And the last one I want to talk about is loyalty. Loyalty. Do not use or disclose confidential info for benefits. This is very important. What am I speaking about there, people? You have a business like myself. I go into companies, I work with large corporations, and I get information HR could share something with me. It is not my duty to come out into John public and share that information with them. It is not your duty. You could have a cleaning company and you go into cleaning the people's business and you're going into the garbage can and you find something that is not your business, some paper, and you come outside to share that information. Remember, you're going to tell John public something that's probably true or untrue. It doesn't make a difference because you have to defend your characteristics and your values, and loyalty play a very important part. So do not use or disclose confidential info for benefits. Very important. Very important.
Very important.
So these are some of the things, Mr. Lara, that people need to pay attention to when we're dealing with ethics in business. Because it is not hard. Ethics is not a whole long list and a 2 and 3 hour course that we have to go through. These are basic human principles that you are raising your kids with today, and they become adults, and we now bring those things to the marketplace. I said to the guy, it's $30 for it. When he comes tomorrow, I don't need to tell him, well, it's $35, I make a mistake. I need to bite the bullet and eat the $5. It's simple as that, you know? So these are the things that we need to pay attention, and we have a real weakness for that in our environment in Trinidad and Tobago. If I look at some of the people who have come around sometimes from doing business, a simple thing as a guy would come to cut the grass in my yard. I said, you need to trim the whatever. This is the price you tell me is going to be X amount. I said, does that include trimming the things or and cutting it this whatever? Yeah. And then when I look and you're going, you did not trim my fence, and I needed my fence cut. And I don't see you again until 2 weeks again. But you already collect my money for the whole process. You were supposed to clean it up, do the basic thing, but we didn't do that. And these things are important. You're in the catering business, and you told people how you were going to prepare the food, what you were going to do, but you did not keep the promise. And one of the things that I need to put inside of here is being on time. That is part of the ethics in your business. If you say you're coming by me for 6, make sure you get there by since 5:40. Ethics is important in that particular area. Those things, people need to know that this person is always on time. The worst thing in Trinidad and Tobago to be dealing with is to be waiting on people like B-Mobile, Digicel, Flow. You know, we come about 10 o'clock and they don't reach till about 12 o'clock. You put off your day to do. These are ethics people. We need to pay attention to that. So what are you doing about your small to medium-sized business that could develop these sort of principles? So I hope I'm making some sense to you there when we're speaking about the ethics of the business. So
definitely.
We can take any question between here to here. That's no problem for me.
All right. We'll have Narissa go through the chat to bring up any questions that was raised. But in the meantime, as you speak about ethics, I can liken it to the core values that exist within a business. And that basically goes without saying, whether it be entrepreneur, a one-man team, or a large organization, 500 employees, you know, core values is what brings about the culture, right? And, you know, without proper culture, there would be all right, I'm seeing that there are no questions. Yeah, Narissa would have stated that there are no questions in the chat. You know, and without proper culture, the whole building, I mean the building, the structures that make up the building could come crumbling down. Yeah. No,
we don't realize that a simple thing, because you think that you're an entrepreneur and you're doing something for someone, you don't say a thank you or a pleasant morning, a pleasant evening. You know, you don't say a thank you. You know, not because you cut the grass for the person that you don't go there, come forward and say, you know, a pleasant morning, Mr. James, or a pleasant morning, Mr. Lara, how are you going? You know, we think that we don't need to do that, or somebody walking in your business. And, you know, by the way, one of the things that people do in business. I teach things like sales training. One of the worst things that I always get when I walk in a business space, and everybody gets it, especially in a more like in a retail environment. Can I help you? You want to be lucky. When people ask me that, my wife could tell you, oh my gosh, I know what he's going to tell people. I normally tell them nicely, isn't that the reason why you were here? You were here to help me.
Correct.
So don't ask me if you can help me. Say a pleasant good morning to you. Or like we would say that a blessed and prosperous day to you. You were not greeting me when you were telling me, can I help you? That's what you get up and open your business for, to help people. But we don't understand those principles. And because we don't understand those principles, we're going to end up with people not supporting and sending others to expand our business. Hope I'm making sense there, people.
Most definite. And I hope persons who are on under the sound of our voices could see the difference, in terms of value adding ethics could make in anyone's business. Now, I have a question here. It might seem a little left field, but we are experiencing the coronavirus, the COVID-19 pandemic, so to speak, a crisis within itself. Do you think ethics can make a difference in the survival of the entrepreneur, the success of entrepreneur during these times?
Well, let me say something here that will unlearn. This is an unlearn thing.
Thank you.
Do you know, for everyone who's under my voice, I'm about to surprise every single one of you. There's no such thing as a crisis.
You heard it from the gentleman live. That's
There's
good.
no such thing as a crisis. Do you know that is a word that is not in the Japanese culture? They don't deal with crisis. That is why those places are successful from the time the children are coming up. Crisis? What is a crisis? So if we look at what we are faced with today, Mr. Lara, with COVID-19, yes, those ethical things will definitely make a difference, because one of the things that we need to pay attention to, for those of you who are on this tonight, is that every single thing that you could do to push your business up and further up, from the characteristics to the ethics to the financial, everything that you could do will make your business a success. So all these values, these things definitely are important. So when we speak about COVID-19, we are producing more millionaires in COVID-19. We are producing more product and service in COVID-19. So that's why I said we have to pay attention to that word crisis. It's a mindset. And we need to, so there's certain things that you have to unlearn, and that's one that we need to unlearn. I don't deal with crisis. I don't have crisis in my business. Sure don't have crisis.
I'm pretty sure that you're going to expound upon that in the second half when we deal with mindset.
Most definitely.
I'm looking forward to that, and I'm pretty sure the members in the audience as well. But from all that I would have heard thus far is that ethics basically ensures the quality of your product or service.
Definitely.
And its delivery, and it also as well protects the consumer or the client. All right. I'm seeing.
Let me just give the listeners an example.
Go ahead.
Let me just give you an example. I was working with a company in the States, and we fired a girl with a degree and promoted the one with a high school diploma. Why did we do that? We were in a consumer environment, and the girl with the degree as the frontline employee had a bad attitude. So we need to understand the word attitude, the way people think about things happening around them. Not what I was raised with, brush your teeth, comb your hair, stick your shirt in your pants. The attitude of that particular individual in the business was affecting the customers who were coming in. they spend more time lining up by the girl with the high school diploma who had that kind of characteristic of an appealing consumer, come by me kind of approach. Hi, how you doing today? You know, everything going good compared to the other one, you know, can I help you? And the body language and slap that thank you, mom kind of approach. If that's the reason why your business is not working, think about it. Or if there are others in your environment who are doing such, then you need to get rid of them or train them. And some people, you know, training is going to be an expensive cost when you have to change some mindset. So that is one of the things. So I saw somebody was like, wow, crisis in the G8. That doesn't make a difference. You need to know what crisis is. You need to know what a crisis is.
Non-existent.
No. Look, let me put it to some people this way. If you're operating like me in a Christian spiritual kingdom mindset, then crisis don't exist.
Right.
It don't exist. And that's the way I operate my business from that platform, from the kingdom perspective. So there's no crisis. So don't think that because of the Chinese or the Japanese or the Korean people, they can say that with the G8. Crisis is, you know, what is that crisis? You know, until we start teaching success and failure are not two different things, then people will start to wake up. So
can you elaborate on that?
Well, when we go into the mindset.
Nice. I jumped in the gun a little bit, sorry.
You're on page 2, I still have 1. Let's see what is going on here in the chat.
I'm seeing some amens, you know, some amens and some amens, Coach TJ. I'm seeing some amens.
Yeah, look, people, I am so glad that Narissa and Mr. Lara invited me on, because what we're going to talk about here in this next half, enough of that is not spoken in Trinidad and Tobago. We need to start to have what we call that mindset that we're pulling apart. Oliver Wendell Holmes said, and please take note of this, that a man's mind stretched to a new idea cannot return to its original dimension. We are not doing enough work in our school system. We're not doing enough work in those government programs that we need to expand people's mindset, those young entrepreneurs, those micro entrepreneurs. I spent 6 years on a state board that's dealing with those things. And that's important, that we've got to stretch the thinking. We've got to stretch the thinking. And until we start to think that way, it's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different mindset. Everybody laughed at Ted Turner when he came up with CNN. You know what was it? You know what they said about it? This man is crazy. Who wants to look at news all day? He said, I'm not talking about looking at news all day. If Trevor can't look at it at 6 o'clock, he can get it at 8 o'clock. If he can't look at it at 10, he can get it at 12. Guess what? What is the leading? Fox, CBS, NBC, ABC, all of them now pulling news from CNN. All of them piggybacking off of CNN, including our network. So we have to understand that whole thing. So I hope the ethics is short. You know, somebody said not a crisis is rather an opportunity. Hallelujah to that.
Amen. You know, I second that.
So, Mr. Lara, it's an opportunity for us now to talk about that mindset.
Correct.
Well,
floor is yours.
To be an entrepreneur of any sort and size starts in the mind. It starts nowhere else but in the mind. And we need to understand that, you know, it's very important why it starts there. You know, that is the name of the game. So if you see my screen right now, Mr. Lara, you see my screen?
Yes, I am perfectly.
Right. Everything begins inside your mind. And with the right mindset, you will succeed. I want us to take that information tonight, please. Make sure you make a note of that. Whether you get a screenshot or whatever it is, Please take a note of that. It's very important that we understand that. We're going into some heavy stuff here now that's going to make a difference in your business. Everything begins inside your mind. And with the right mindset, you will succeed. What am I about to say right now might blow a lot of people's mind. And I hope that it does. Because if you are thinking about entrepreneurship, if you're thinking about expanding your business, getting into another business, I have more than one business. If you are starting a business to earn money, it will fail. Let me repeat that to everybody under my breath this afternoon. If you start or think about starting a business to make money or earn money, it will fail. Why am I saying that? If on the other hand, you are in business to help solve my problems and give me a solution to my problems, guess what? You will earn a lot of money like Jeff Bezos. I hope you understand what I just said there. You will earn a lot of money like Jeff Bezos. That's the man who owns Amazon. If you are in business to earn a lot of money, first, your business is just a time bomb waiting to fail. Business entrepreneurs first sit there and figure out what solution can they bring to a problem in the marketplace. And you'll hear me keep talking about the marketplace because that is what it is. We've got to come to the place and solve problems. That is what I am. I am a problem solver. I go to companies and I talk about I have this problem, or I listen to parents with their children have this problem. And all I'm doing is providing a solution. That is what it's all about. When you could bring me a solution to my issues, man, you would make a lot of money because I will recommend you to other people who have a similar issue like me. That is what the game is all about. So we need to understand all of those businesses out there are providing a solution to somebody or body's problems. You don't go to the doctor when you're well. You go to the doctor when you think you're sick or you're feeling sick because that is your medical solution then. As simple as that. And we need to understand that. So let's take a look at the mind. We've designed something here that Dr. Tillman Fleet in 1834 designed something here that's called a stick person. The stick person represents you and how your mind works. Now, don't mix up the mind with the brain. The brain is the brain and the mind is the mind. The central nervous system will do what it's supposed to do to get us hooked up. So when we begin to start to pay attention to what's happening with this thing called the mind, then we will begin to start to understand how this thing actually works. And it's very important that you understand that. So when we talk about the conscious part of the mind, that is where we deal with our thoughts. You think ideas, and these ideas sink into your subconscious mind. The word sub means below. You hear the ship called the submarine. It's a submarine. And that submarine is what that is all about. So that is below. So that imaginary line that you're seeing in the middle there, once it gets past that line, it goes into that place. But what happens in the subconscious mind is feelings, ideas, emotion, and they control how you act. And they go down into the body. That's that neck between there. And the body is what I call the instrument or even the servant of the mind. I just raise one of my hands and raise the other one. That's how fast this stuff is thinking. So let's go back to the top with the conscious part of the mind. Do you know, people, that this part of the mind, please make a note of this, the conscious part of the mind is called the educated mind or the thinking mind. And this is only 10%. 10% takes place there of our thinking. It is written that we are using less than even 5% of that particular part of the mind. That's interesting. Now, in the conscious part of the mind, what takes place there are ideas. It accepts, please write this down. In the conscious part of the mind, it accepts or rejects. That's what it does in that little 10%, you know. It accepts or rejects. The conscious part of the mind have the ability to choose. And it organizes ideas. That's what it's doing there. It is the thinking mind, the conscious part of the mind. What is the subconscious all about? Well, that's the emotional mind. It's the emotional mind. And guess what? Compared to the conscious, it cannot reject, but it must accept. So the subconscious mind cannot reject, it must accept. So whatever is said in the conscious part of the mind. So please write this down. You and I as human beings, we are thinking 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day. Thoughts. And in some people, 60 to 80 are all negative. Think hard, think bad. You better catch in hell. Business slow. 60 to 80,000 negative thoughts. You did that on Monday. Today's Tuesday. You stockpile that on today's 60 to that's 100 and something thousand you're going down the road with. Think of how dangerous this is. The subconscious does not know the difference between imagination nor reality. What is real or what is false. That's what's going on in the subconscious. Cannot tell the difference. So when you set out to be successful in that business, you need to start to send those ideas into the conscious part of your mind first. The reason why a lot of people are failing, Mr. Lara, is because the conscious part of the mind is where you set the goal, but people trying to achieve it there. Please write this down, listeners. The conscious part of the mind is just for setting the goal. It's never for achieving it. The subconscious mind is the place where we achieve it. But too many of y'all still have your business idea stuck in the conscious part of your mind. You're still thinking whether it's going to work. Well, it ain't going to work because we need a paradigm shift, right? So when we look at what is going on, we have what we call these 5 senses. And our 5 senses takes place what we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to inform all you that is the limitation. Human beings are limited when it's coming to business because we are stuck in our 5 senses. Now, if I'm to tell you tonight that you earn $6,000 a month, and if you multiply that by 12, it will be $72,000 for the year. And if I'm to say to you, I want to show you how to change your monthly income by taking your annual income and now show you how to make $72,000 a month, you might say, like, how are you going to do that? And then up comes the negative. What do you sell drugs? No. No, it don't. I could talk to you about money, you know. I've been there and done that. I have made what people make in a year. I have gone to make over $300-something thousand a month. I know what it's like to make over $1 million a month. I've been there and done that. So when I'm talking to you tonight, I'm not talking to you from theory. I'm talking to you from the practical also. Very important that we understand what I'm saying tonight. So your 5 senses are things that are limiting you. And we need to start to think greater than that. Einstein said it. He said, imagination is the preview of life coming attractions. You have to start to sit there and imagine how your business is going to be. You got to expand your thinking. We've got to come out from that place of that limited thinking. What is happening to most of us, as my deceased mentor Zig Ziglar said, we're suffering from stinking thinking And what we need is a checkup from the neck up so that we could eliminate the hardening of the attitudes. I didn't say arteries, I said attitudes. So we got to get a checkup from the neck up. We got to start to expand our thinking. So here's what I wanted to get to understand. If you set a goal here, this is where the goal is at here, but your thoughts are down here, then you are not on the same frequency with that goal. And that is what I teach business people. That's what I teach the average person. Let me explain that to you. Every one of you who are listening to me tonight have a cell phone. And the only reason that we are communicating effectively, whether it's a laptop, a PC, or your cell phone, is because we are on the same frequency. Let your internet start to act up now and come off of that frequency. Then you'll understand what I'm talking about. When you get a drop call, it's because we are not on the same frequency. That's what a drop call is. The companies now have an issue. They're not getting those things up, so they have now to get it and tune with that. Some of you want to be an entrepreneur. You have this dream and goal and desire, but guess what? You're going through this particular problem. This is your problem. You have what is called a terror barrier. You cannot be a successful entrepreneur all the years that you're trying because you have been blaming and complaining societal issues, the government, this and that. And when this is your problem, you have yet to set the goal so big that it scares the hell out of you. The goal must excite you and scare you at the same time. You see, to achieve your goals, you must understand this process. So you come to these sessions and you listen to me and say, yeah, I'm going home. I could do it now. And you get this dream of how you can start this multi-million-dollar business or how you can make a couple $100,000 a month. And guess what? You're stuck in X in the conscious, X in the subconscious, and X in the body because, ladies and gentlemen, you're still in bondage. You're still in bondage. You know why? Because of it. What makes you think you're going to earn $72,000? That man, you know what you're talking about, you know. Thing hard, thing bad, COVID-19. You're stuck in bondage based with those statements. That's why you're stuck. But you have a dream, eh? So somehow I kind of make a little sense to you. And you decide, okay, so just making some sense here. So you get this little goal now, and you begin to start to identify what it is that you need to take a look at. So you now start to think, oh, Mr. James, you're making sense there. So, but look what still happens. Even though the dollar sign is in the conscious, the subconscious, and the body, look at the X that is in bondage. It is still in the dream. The X in the conscious, the X in the subconscious, and the X in your body. Even though you start to dream a little bit, you still can't achieve that particular entrepreneurial goal that you have because you have yet to cross the barrier. You have yet to cross the barrier. So you begin to start to listen to things. You start to call on me to coach you. You start to attend these sessions. And the next thing you know, you get a financial breakthrough. Wow, you're now in the place that I call freedom. Notice what happens in freedom. In freedom, the conscious, the money is there. In freedom, the subconscious, the money is there. In freedom, in your body, it's there. You now get a breakthrough. But I want to ask you all a serious question tonight. What are your money blueprints? What are your financial barriers that are stopping you from moving your business from where it's at in bondage and dream to allow it to be in the place called freedom? What is the mindset that's holding you back? Look, if you think only the people who's doing this could get it, that is a blueprint. What is your money blueprint? What are your barriers? You cannot want to be an entrepreneur and have the following money mindset. Money is the root of all evil. Obviously, you've been reading your Bible upside down. It never stated money is the root of all evil. I'm not going to even tell you what it said. Go check it yourself. But never state that. If that is one, you need to get rid of that. Get rid of that. Clean out your mind. There's a law that I teach called the law of vacuum. The same way we running through the house and vacuuming for Christmas and cleaning up. The most important room, which is the largest room in the world, is the room for improvement, is in your mind. You need to vacuum out the garbage in your mind. Look, we're talking about essential workers for COVID-19. Let me tell you something about an essential worker that's important to the mind. You are an essential worker when it's coming to your mind. You need to clean that stuff out of your mind. Only certain people, if we say in Trinidad and Tobago, look at this ethnicity group. I say it, I'm not afraid to say it. Because the state in the States, all them Syrian and them white people can get rich and black people can't do that. Garbage. Garbage thinking. I'm black and I make it too. And I'm black and most of them. It's a thinking. And we have to stop that thinking. Because if we send that down to our children, what's going to happen? We will never get the freedom. We will never get the freedom. It's time that you start to stretch your thinking. The thing that people don't want to talk about is the thing they need to talk about. People want money, but they don't want to talk about money. They don't want to talk about money. We have fears. Look, the thing that you fear the most. Joseph Campbell said this. I'm going to slow it down so you can write it. Joseph Campbell said this. He said, the cave you fear to enter, hold the treasure that you seek. The cave you fear to enter, hold the treasure that you seek. What is the place that you fear to go? What is the place that you are feared to go? One of the most dotish questions I ever hear about money is, what am I going to do with all of that money? Well, I always have an answer for that. Please send it to me. I can give you my account number. If you're so ignorant and don't know what to do with what you can earn, please send it to me. I don't have a money problem. Receiving. I don't have a receiving problem. Quit speaking about 1%. That is a financial barrier. We don't even realize, people, that when we say these things and we're looking at our business, bless everybody else's business. Bless the 1%. And bless the max that you changing it to 1.5 or 1.86%. Bless the max. Begin to be a game changer. Come on. It's entrepreneurship we're talking about. Take it from somebody tonight who been there and done that. So I want to share something with you. When I decided to start my consulting firm in the United States when I was living there, I was going to go and get into teaching people how to sell and how to be successful in sales training and doing motivation talks and that kind of thing. We had a group of black guys who went to university. And we used to meet every month and talk about ideas and stuff. The night I came to that meeting, ladies and gentlemen, and said the following, I am going to open my own consulting firm in X. They look at me as though I was still in Trinidad and Tobago. Matter of fact, I was told that, hey, this is not Trinidad and Tobago where you came from, all them black people. Who you going and talk to? Trevor, it don't have about one black man who own a business in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I said, well, all I know is I have an idea and I'm going to push through with my idea. That night, ladies and gentlemen, I went back to my apartment. And when I went back there, I had all these books. By the way, what you see in the back of me is not a Zoom thing. Eh? This is real books I have in the back here, plus on the next wall. Yeah, this is real books. That's not a fancy drop back here. This is real thing. I pull out a series of these books that I purchased called The Science of Personal Achievement by Napoleon Hill. I throw all the books down on the ground and I lie down on the books. And I pick up the first one that said The Science of Personal Achievement. And I started flipping pages. And I came upon a statement that I got up the next morning, read it again, went to the copy machine, copied it off, and stuck it in my briefcase that I was going to see people. The statement stated as follows. Who told you it couldn't be done? And what great achievements has he to his credits that qualifies him to set up limitations for you? Napoleon Hill, author of the book Think and Go Rich. The statement said, who told you it couldn't be done? And what great achievements has he to his credits that qualifies him to set up limitations for you? Ladies and gentlemen, I replied to that statement. I said, not me. I didn't tell me it couldn't be done. Who told you that you can't have that multi-million-dollar business. Who told you that you can't do that? Mommy, daddy, grandma, grandpa? Some of these people who probably tell you that dead. Some of the people who tell you that you are a big person now, you're an adult, you could tell mommy and daddy, I'm not listening to that. Who told you that you can't do this? It's stuck in your terror barrier. That's why it's stuck. You will never be successful as you need to be. You have it inside of you. I don't put things into people as a life and peak performance coach. What I do is what's already inside of you, I pull it out. It's inside of you. There's a business that's waiting to be birthed into people who are listening to this tonight. What is your fear? False evidence appearing real, FEAR. It is time that you put that stuff out. Look, I have an issue tonight. If you're a Christian listening to my voice and you're afraid to start a business, then you don't understand what faith is. Faith is nothing but misplaced fear. That is all fear is really. Fear is misplaced faith. Get it right, people. The amount of millionaires that is created in COVID-19, it will blow all your mind. You probably don't want to do the research. You know how many people selling them masks? You know how many people selling them sanitizers? It's unbelievable. As a matter of fact, the stock exchange in the United States has taken a flip. So those of you who invested in them thing in network marketing here, where you're dealing with the stock market, prepare to lose some money, because all those things that was in technology going down, and guess what started to go up? Sinopharm and all these companies who are doing that, the scientific companies, the stock market take a flip. It take a flip. Time to do some reading. If you're not reading, or you cannot be successful in business. Or you have to be. Oprah Winfrey have 2 coaches. How about you? I am for hire. Get the right mindset. Get the mindset for success and prosperity. That is where it's at. It's time you post up the right thing on your wall. You know, I did a session for people the other day, and I tell them they cannot read the newspaper. If you think I'm lying, ask Mr. Lara, if Mr. Harry is still on. They could not read the newspaper for 21 days. What's in the front of the newspaper? I live by a philosophy that every single thing that I need to know, somebody will tell me. If I need to know it, somebody will tell me. God's going to send the right person to tell me that the bridge down the road break down. What you reading in the newspaper? Not one. If you stay on this entrepreneurship for 4 weeks, there will not be one damn thing in the newspaper that can move your business to the next level. Not one. Not one. But you know what? Every Sunday you have to have one. Every Sunday you're spending your money to do that. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get rid of this stuff.